Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Tonight, we're discussing the state of the nation as President Tinubu summons 36 state governors to Abuja. And I've been speaking with Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi as the chairman of the North Central Zone Campaign for Democracy in Niger State. Dr. Jabi, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Now, let's get to what more can we do so state governors can live up to their responsibilities? I'm asking this question because despite an increase in monthly FAC revenue, most governors have failed to pay salaries, they have failed to pay pensions and a 30,000 minimum wage to their citizens. Yes, the president has pleaded with them, but what more can be done so state governors can step up to their responsibilities?
Good question, and very, very apt. I think the president should not stop at that. He should request the services of intelligence agencies to go after the governors, and the Minister of Information and National Rotation Agency should up their games by briefing citizens per hour, per second on government policy programs and what government have been able to release to each of those governors in their various states. And citizens should hold them accountable for their inability to perform, for their inability to protect, for their inability to take care of their citizens, because they are any more ever than any other administration since inception of democratic dispensation in this country. So they should be accountable for all the money they are collected and what they are using it for, until citizens are made to understand that this money were released for social purposes, so that civil societies and NGOs and other stakeholders, faith-based organizations, can hold government accountable at the state level and the local government level. And there is a need urgently for the bill that was passed by National Assembly to give the local governments the autonomous, financial autonomous, so that they'll be able to perform their role at the grassroots level where poverty is halved, where hunger is high.
But doctor, where do
so monitoring by civil society of those governors will help Mr. President in making sure that those governors perform their role, because they are long silent, as if the president is not doing enough. Is what is happening by instigating some of their citizens against the states. Most of the rally you saw that were carried out as a result of hunger issue and the deprivation and high cost of food items were instigated by opposition party and some stakeholders to diminish the image of the present administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Right. So where do local government areas come in here? What exactly is the responsibility of local government in mitigating this hardship?
1999 Constitution has amended, and they are ready to carry out their functions if only they allow them to enjoy the freedom of their financial resources from the federation accounts. That is when local government can be functional, can be reasonable, and they can be impactful in terms of service delivery to the people. This is so because governors at all state level have strangulated that third tier of government. And that is why the impact is not being felt. So Mr. President must ask the National Assembly to revisit what the immediate past president, Mahmoud Buhari, said on the freedom of financial autonomy for legislators and local government autonomy, so that they can perform creatively well than it is today. The governors are not doing well, and they are not supporting Mr. President to achieve his reformed and renewed agenda.
We'll come back to that. Let's quickly talk about insecurity, which is a major cause of food shortage in the country. Now, there is an agreement on the creation of state police, but in the interim, the president has charged these governors to strengthen their forest rangers and arm them to keep all the forests safe from criminals. What modalities do you think this initiative should take?
This is a very welcome development and long overdue, because not only the rangers that will protect farmers in the farm, there is a need for the government at all tiers to ensure that social security is provided for the people. The aged that are retirees, pension and gratuity is paid as of when due, which is what Mr. President has been hammering on. So security is an issue that the state and the local government should embrace and reduce the level of crime if there is huge employment, if there's empowerment on the part of women in agriculture, I think this level of crime and criminalities will reduce to a greater level.
Right. Thank you so much, Doctor.
So
now
creating state police is a development. Creating state rangers is a welcome development. But there must be monitoring. Not only Mr. President giving the order, there must be other agencies. There must be option B of monitoring to report directly to Mr. President whether the governors are complying with his directive or not.
All right. Now, let's move away from the president's meeting to the state of the economy. And I'd like us to start by unpacking CBN's recent intervention to save the naira. But first, Doctor, why has the naira depreciated so badly?
Well, it did not start from today. You remember that the issue of naira devaluation started in early 90s by the then military president Babangida, and it cumulated into stealings by other government officials.
Dr. Jabi, are you there? So, Dr. Jabi, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your submission. Right, so tonight I've been speaking with Dr. Abdullahi Jabi. All right, please go ahead, sir. Dr. Jabi, if you can hear me, please go ahead. All right, tonight I've been speaking with Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi, who is the chairman of the North Central Zone Campaign for Democracy in Niger State. And so tonight we're discussing the state of the nation as President Bola Tinubu summons 36 state governors to Abuja. Let's take another break and we will be right back. Please stay with us. Dr. Jabi, are you there, sir? For a minute, we could not hear you anymore.
I am here with you fully. I'm fully here with you.
All right, sir. We're coming back to you now. Thank you so much for staying with Politics Tonight. For the past 35 minutes, thereabouts, we've been discussing the state of the nation as President Bola Tinubu summons 36 state governors to Abuja. And I've been speaking with Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi, who is the chairman of the North Central Zone Campaign for Democracy in Niger State, as our guest tonight. Dr. Jabi, before we went to that break, you were highlighting your reasons for the further depreciation of the naira. You may go on now.
Over the years, past administrations were equally responsible for the devaluation of the naira for reasons best known to them as a result of bad governance. But it started from the military president of the then Nigerian state, President Muhammadu Babangida. And today we get ourselves into the mess we find ourselves. And Nigerians must give this administration a space to ensure that the policy reform in the issue of naira is getting root, particularly now that the banking regulatory agency has been moved to Lagos to know who is transacting A and B and what they are transacting about in terms of interbanking agencies' business transaction. That is a very healthy one. It's a very good policy to further stem the issue of naira devaluation. And I am saying that the activities of Bureau de Change should be declared illegal and they be sanctioned and they should not be allowed to exist again. They should not be forexing our naira for whatever they want to do. It is an activity made for the lazy people, and that should not be. Until that is done, we will not be able to address the drifting of the naira. Again, we must make sure that we have adequate production of our local materials here that can engage people in terms of manufacturing, that can engage people, particularly the youth, so that we can have youth, we can reduce youth restiveness, and then we can have more companies taking roots locally, so that the pharmaceutical companies can be on board. Marshallin can come back, Dunlop can come back, and other multinational agencies that have left the shore of Nigerian soil can come back, and then the naira will hit up. You can equally see the policy of Mr. President in terms of reducing the capital flights through their personnel traveling with him abroad. That is the right thing to do in the right direction. And every right-thinking Nigerian must support this administration to succeed.
Absolutely.
Are you hearing me now?
Absolutely.
Mr. President should go about it.
But Doctor, since assumption of office, the CBN governor has undertaken a series of steps to restore the naira. How optimistic are you about his latest steps?
Yes, he's a man that has been tested over years. He's a professional person, and I think he what he sought to ensure that what he's doing will succeed. So I have no doubt in my mind that given time, he will make sure that his policy turn into actions for the benefit of Nigerians, and very soon Nigerians will start harvesting it.
So do you think we may eventually reach a convergence of both markets, talking about official and parallel markets, especially with the CBN clearing the backlog of forex demand?
Yeah, we will get there, but that will be within the next 2 or 3 years. It's not what you can get done within 1 year as it is now, or 2 years now, because the economic situation is very, very bad. Until we arrest all those areas, children traveling abroad for education is stopped, and then paying medical bill with hard currency is stopped. All those areas that Mr. President is tinkering with has to be dipping to a gestation period where the result will be yielding and Nigerians will have benefit for it.
Right. So let's also move on quickly. Governor Mohammed Bago of Niger State has banned the sale and distribution of food items and farm produce in bulk from the state to other Nigerian states. Why did this become necessary?
Well, Niger State is an agrarian community, and Niger State has the largest landmass. It has the largest dam that is generating power in the country. Niger State has the highest manpower in the agricultural field, and I think we have enough food in this state to feed the nation. We are at par with Benue State, with all agricultural climatic conditions and human resources to mount the field to ensure that we have sufficient food production in Nigeria. So it's a very healthy one, because over the time, it has been discovered that holding middlemen activities and hyperinflation in the price of agricultural commodities are what is responsible for the hardship that Nigerians are going into it. So if you now stop evacuation of food items from Niger State to other states, other people within the states and catchment area will be able to have benefits, and the price of those food items will come down. And Governor Bago is a farmer himself, and is very resolute in ensuring that his priority is on agricultural value chain. You realize that about 3-4 months ago, he launched the green economy, and he's doing everything about it to reduce the effect of climatic change on the soils of Nigeria.
And I'm sure you're aware that a group of 60 lawmakers have initiated a move to end this current presidential system and revert to the parliamentary system previously used in Nigeria's First Republic. How do you react to this, and how feasible is this for us as a nation?
It's a very heady development because the presidential self-government is very expensive, very, very expensive. And with the depressed economy that we're operating now, we can no longer cope with it. That is a very factual about it. But parliamentary system could go a long way in addressing most of our issues, because the number of parliamentary that will be in the House will be reduced. And then even at that level, at the presidential level, there is a limit to what they can do in terms of resources that they can amass. So, and it's a very healthy development. We can tinker with it. But my fear is the current crop of the National Assembly will allow that to happen. That is where my fear lies.
But they have set a timeline.
It can come up. It can come up because this presidential system is too expensive for us to manage. And it's not healthy for us because it's happening most of our economy.
Right, but you've set a timeline of 2031 for the constitutional amendment to allow this transition. Do you think this will eventually come to fruition?
It cannot come into friction, because we must get all these issues addressed first. The issue of poverty, the issue of hunger, the issue of children, 11.3 million out of school in other Nigeria to be addressed, the issue of unemployment has to be addressed, the issue of power to be addressed, the recapitalization of infrastructures to make life comfortable for the citizens has to be addressed. If these are not addressed adequately, it will be difficult for us to achieve that within the time limit they propose.
Right, looks like a pointer to the issue of corruption, which still remains a major issue of concern in Nigeria. Dr. Jabi, can President Tinubu eradicate this systemic menace? And can corruption be totally eradicated from our system?
It can be. It can be if the president is resolute about it and Nigerians are ready to support him. We must allow our law to bite. Offenders must face the consequences of their actions. That is where corruption can be eliminated in the society. I find it difficult to see a situation where the Accountant General Federation steals so much money from the coffers of the state, and all he's doing now is plead bargaining. It is a wrong approach. It should be hanged and summarily executed. I am amazed in a situation where the CBN governor, we amassed such men, including forgery of former President Muhammadu Buhari's signature, and he sees standing trial, and some of the lawyers are still working on a footnote to get him off the hook. That means alarming. He should be given summary execution. Until this is done, Nigeria will not desist from tinkering with public money for public goods. We must set example that our laws must bite on such issues. It must bite. People must face the consequences of their action.
But taking a cue from what happened in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs under the watch of Ministers Farouk and Edu, how can we make sure that this never occurs again?
There is intelligence agencies in the arms of CBN. There's intelligence agencies. Now, Nigeria intelligence agencies is there. Are you getting me now? There is security agencies under state security services. There should be more. There is EFCC, there is ICPC. They must have a desk in each of the ministry and ensure that as soon as money is released from the federation account, they know what that money is released for and what they want to use it for, and they can monitor it. Nigerians must monitor what their money is used for. It is not for Mr. President to be in 774 local government to see what is happening. It is for you and me. You are in Lagos, I'm in Niger. Other people are in other states of the federation. For us to come under an umbrella to ensure that we assist Mr. President in achieving his set up goals for the good of the larger society. President Tinubu is highly passionate about the states. He works for it and he wants to deliver service to Nigerians. So we must support him to succeed. This is the first time we are seeing a president that is knowledgeable in economy, that is knowledgeable in administration, that is knowledgeable in politics, and is ready to serve the country honestly. We must be on the same page with him to ensure that he succeeds in all ramifications.
Absolutely. So what do you say to those who have said Nigerian activism and combat and collective efforts to combat corruption have reduced drastically?
It's not true. It is just thinking in their own imagination. It's not true, because if we have an opportunity where reports can be made under district operation, because again, the fear is the moment you go to some of these agencies to report an official infringement against the state, these same people release your own personal information to the criminals for you to be executed. So because of distrust between the citizens and the security agencies is accounting for why people are not going forward. But you will see very soon, within the next 2 weeks, if there is a task force on the issue of pricing of commodity items and this holding in warehouses that have been identified, you will see what will happen in the Nigerian state. That there will be a lot of dramatic change, and Nigeria will be eased from the pace they are going through. That was not
right. So as we wrap up tonight, before I let you go, what roles can civil society organizations play in accountability and governance, especially in these hard times?
If the president gives a recognition to civil society to work honestly, we'll have a conference and then we pair ourselves across the state of the federation, and then we'll have to report to genuinely that will take the message to Mr. President. People are ready to work with him. People are working to work with him. Because I remember that in 1999 to 2006, when we were in Alliance for Democracy, we worked closely with Mr. President when he was the governor of Lagos State. And he respects all party leaders at that material time. And he's still the same person that respects every individual that can add value to governance. If he created the opportunity, people will go out to ensure that this information is disseminated and the proper action is taken by security agencies to ensure that corporates are brought to book and they serve their severe punishment.
Dr. Jabi, I must thank you for your insights on this very, very critical conversation for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been speaking with Dr. Abdullahi Muhammad Jabi. He's the chairman of the North Central Zone Campaign for Democracy in Niger State. Tonight, we're focused on the state of the nation as President Bola Tinubu summons 36 state governors to Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us, Doctor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inviting.
And thank you very much for watching.